Welcome to the Liberated Life. Get ready to free your mind, body, and spirit in business and pleasure. Now here's your host, Robin Quinn Keehn.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of The Liberated Life. It's been a little bit. I took a little bit of a break over Christmas, kind of unintentionally, but life gets busy during the holiday season. And I had friends and family, and we had some sick kids, and we had all kinds of things going on over here on my end. Thank you for hanging in there with me, and look forward to doing more episodes this year. I wanted to talk today, as we are at the beginning of a brand new year, about some of the things that I think are foundational and that I continue to hear in conversations I have with people I know, with my clients, and with friends. And it has to do with two things. One is knowing what you're up to, meaning feeling confident about your purpose, your mission, your vision, and your values as we walk into a new year. And the other piece is around feeling stable and secure, regardless of the outside world and all of the things that are happening there. So I don't have a script. I'm just speaking from my heart and whatever inspirational words come to me in the moment. So we'll see where I meander. I'll do my best to keep this under 30 minutes. And so let's just talk a little bit about why it matters to us so much to feel like we have a purpose. I really believe that one of the prime things that makes us human is our desire to make a contribution to others. I can't think of anybody in my world that doesn't have a feeling or a need to contribute. And what I mean by that is we want to make a difference in somebody else's life. And there's a very obvious connection there between parents and their children. Parents want to make a contribution. They brought these children into the world. And as parents, we want to make a contribution to our kids. We want to do our very best to raise them to be stable and strong. And we talk about contributing members of society, right? So there's that contribution word again. I think that purpose shows up maybe when we're a little bit older, but I believe that the idea of having a purpose is universal for people on some level. Now, maybe I'm wrong. If you're listening and you don't feel like you have a purpose, I would love to know that. I really would love to hear from you and have a conversation about what that is like, not to feel like there's some bigger purpose for you in being here on planet Earth. Now, although we may not realize we have a purpose when we're young, I believe that our purpose is God-given or spirit-given, or it's divinely given to us before we are born or at birth or whenever that exact moment is. I don't proclaim to know, but I believe that it's a part of our personality. It's part of our character, and part of our DNA is that we're born with something we feel called to do. And it could be parenting. That could absolutely be our purpose. It could be music, making music, teaching others to make music. That could be our purpose. It could be helping people with their health journey. It could be helping people live a healthy life, whatever that means. There's so many different purposes, and we're all different. And I believe we can have very different purposes. And some of us may have similar purposes, but we have something. Now, you may or may not know my backstory on why this is important to me, but I'll take just a couple of minutes to share it with you. When I was growing up, I was all about the fun and adventure and mischief. That was really my thing. And I loved inspiring people to be adventurous with me. And there are stories that go way back to my very young childhood of collecting all of the kids in my neighborhood. I lived in a big Catholic neighborhood in the Chicago suburbs. We weren't Catholic, but everybody around us was. And I would go round up all the kids. When I was little, like I'm talking maybe 5 or 6 or 7, I would round up the neighborhood kids, the big kids, the little kids, the teenage kids, and organize kick the can. And I loved being outside at night with the lightning bugs, the fireflies, and kick the can and Red Rover and anything we could do to play outside, tag at nighttime. I still remember we had a really big backyard, and my neighbors had a big flatter backyard. So we would often start in the neighbor's yard and then migrate to wherever we were playing around the block with all of the different kids playing those games. So that was something I started doing when I was really little, organizing people to come together and have fun. And if I look back on my life, that is something that was consistent. I can remember getting in trouble for it when I was in 8th grade because I organized a group of students at my little Christian school to all bring their roller skates, even though the principal had forbidden us from roller skating on campus. I was like, nope, this is the perfect campus. They had just moved the school from one place to the other, and it was absolutely the perfect place to roller skate. And I actually got kicked out of the school after that because the principal felt like I had taken control. And you should never say that to an 8th grader. You have more control than I do. Don't say that to an 8th grader because they will then take control. So that was 8th grade. Then I became class president. All through high school, I was always organizing people. As a grown-up now, I can see, looking back, that was part of my DNA. That was just part of what I loved to do, and I did it all the time. And then I didn't do it as much in college. I had a kind of a weird college experience, but I certainly have done it with my career, having a large music and dance studio in my town where people came together to have fun and express themselves. So I imagine that if you look back over your life, you might be able to see some kind of thread that runs through it. And those threads can be spiritual in nature. They can be just about anything that you are like, I love doing this. I've always done this. People say I do this. I'm good at this, or I enjoy this, or I feel a sense of satisfaction or excitement when I'm doing this. That is probably related to your purpose. I started to tell you my story, which was several years ago. Everything that I had done that had been a part of my purpose came to a conclusion in strange and awesome and terrible and wonderful ways. In that year, probably 7 years ago, my purpose had definitely been my children, and all but one were grown and off being young adults in college and such. And so I have 3 kids that are close together, and then I have the baby that's 5 years younger than the next one up. So the baby was still at home, but the other kids were in quick succession off to college. So my job was 3/4 of the way done, and I started to have more of an empty nest syndrome thing going on. At that same time, I made the decision to sell my studio to my business partner. That was exactly at that same time. And at that exact same time, I quit my church gig where I had been playing piano on worship team for at least a decade. And my husband and I split up. I suddenly found myself thinking, oh my gosh, like I completed my purpose, except for the baby. I have completed my purpose, apparently. And what am I going to do now? So I really struggled for a long time trying to figure out what's the point? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing with my life now? And it put me on a quest, about a 16-month quest of reading books and going to personal development, and meeting with a counselor and talking to people and spiritual people. I was just like, help me figure out my purpose. I apologize for my cracky voice. I've been dealing with a little cold this week. So I'm trying to figure out my purpose. And then one day, this finally came to me. I was so confused because people call these things different things. And I realized in one day, oh, I see, I have a purpose and it's built into me. It's something that resides in me and will always be there. But what's changed is I was on a set of missions. And my mission was to raise my children. And my mission was to create the studio. And my mission was to be married. And my mission was to be a pianist at my church. Those were my mission. That's how I expressed my purpose in life, which is to help people express themselves and have fun doing it, right? That to me is my purpose, to bring people together in community so they can express their highest self and do it in a way that brings everyone around them and them great joy. That is what I meant to do here. But I did that in different ways. And so then I realized, oh, my purpose isn't going to change, but the way I express my purpose is what's going to change. And I've been running a beautiful mastermind for Simply Music piano teachers for 8 years now. We come together, we express ourselves, we grow together, we have fun. and they end up having an ideal studio, one that works for them and lights them up and makes them happy and is a blessing in their community. And they continue because they are living on purpose and they're doing the things that make them the happiest. So that's how it's expressed itself. I'm launching my Calm Club, connection, accountability, love, and mentorship for high achieving, capable women who are ready to make some shifts in their mindset and start saying yes to the things that really light them up and say no, thank you, and end things that don't. Again, I'm building a community where self-expression and happiness and joy are a part of what happens there. So it goes on for me. And now that I see it, it is so freeing to know that that is how I stay on purpose, and I get to express that through whatever mission I choose. I could make up anything. I could make anything up. I could do whatever I want for my mission, my current mission. So if you can think about that spiritual purpose or that DNA built-in purpose that you have, and then see how it's run throughout your life in different ways, could say manifested in different ways, but also recognize that the different ways had to do with the mission that you were on at that point. The mission is how you express that purpose. And I love that idea. That really helped me. That just was like the light bulb moment for me on understanding this. The next part I just want to touch on is your vision. So, because people are like, well, what's your vision? Well, your vision is, how will you be different and how will the world be different when you have completed your mission? So for me, with my children, that's obvious. They will be grown-ups and they will be beautiful, solid, stable, contributing people here in the world, doing good things and being beautiful souls, being really wonderful kids. That was my mission. And that was the vision of completing my mission, is that's who they would be. They would be launched and wonderful and okay. And with my studio, my vision was I would create a community within my little tiny town that had virtually nothing for children when I moved here in 1993. And I would create a community where people could be self-expressed and they could dance and they could make music and they could learn to appreciate music and they could have fun together. And that was done. And that beautiful studio lasted until lockdowns. And then I had sold it and she had to close, and it's over now, but that's okay because it was accomplished. My vision was achieved. And my vision of myself, I don't know what vision I had for myself at that point when I started it. I just knew that I would be happy. I just knew that it would be so satisfying. And it was satisfying. It was a beautiful experience to be a part of. It was such an honor. So that was my vision. You'll have your own vision of how you are different, how the world is affected by you achieving your mission that is related to your purpose. Let's talk for a minute about values. The values you have are really an important part of this big picture because it's the way in which you do these things. What's important to you? Meaning, for me, my values are integrity, doing things with integrity, keeping my word, being my word, not letting people down because I haven't kept my word, keeping my word to myself, keeping my word to others. So integrity is part of the way I do any of my missions. And that's, that has, I will just say there's a good side and a hard side to all of these, right? Having integrity means that I didn't learn how to delegate well for a long, long time because I wanted to be the one that ensured the delivery of whatever the thing was. It doesn't matter if it was the band for the prom, if it was, an experience at the studio. If it was up to me, I could keep my word. So that created some challenges. Now I understand differently and I can do it differently, but I'm just saying sometimes our values create situations for us. That's okay. It's normal. But another value for me is that it has to be fun. I've got to have a good time or I'm not going to do it. So I'm never going to sign up for something that doesn't feel like there's an element of playfulness and fun or joy in it. That's another value of mine. Another value of mine is freedom. So I want to do these things, but I don't want to feel locked in or locked down by the experience of creating something, and then I feel trapped, which I eventually did by my studio. And that's why I sold it to my business partner, because I eventually was like, oh my gosh, let me out. I've created a beautiful monster and I just need to go now. So these values that we have, it's really important that we know what they are, so that whatever we're creating, whatever our mission is, it's in alignment with our values. And we haven't created something that's unworkable for ourselves, unsustainable for ourselves, something we actually end up hating because we disregarded or undervalued our values. This is how I see your purpose, your mission, your vision, and your values. And I think if you know what those are, if you've done the work to figure that out, life gets easier. Decisions become clearer. You can have more discernment about what's coming in and what to do with it. When I say what's coming in, I mean opportunities, invitations, people, things, places. If you know what you're up to, what you want, and where your values are, you begin to look at things a little bit differently. And you go, actually, that doesn't look like fun. I'm not going to do that. That would be me. Actually, that doesn't sound fun at all. That's a no. No, thank you. Nope. And not with any judgment or negative energy around it. It's just like, that's not for me, because it's not lined up with who I am and who I'm being and what my mission is and what my purpose is. So I personally feel like this is a game changer for people, because it helps us discern what the next step is, what the right steps are, what the right things are for us. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. And I'm just going to say, I know this is going to go live, and tomorrow morning, you may or may not hear it. I'm actually going to do a 2-hour workshop on the klepto code. This is the first step in my program, the klepto code, 6 steps to stop stealing from yourself. And it has to do with getting clarity about your purpose, mission, vision, and values, eliminating what doesn't fit in those, prioritizing what does, taking action, and observing and acknowledging your progress towards the things that you say are most important. That might be your mission. So I'm doing that tomorrow morning for free in my Zoom room. So if you happen to listen to this and you're like, Robin, I want to participate, it's from 10 to noon Pacific on January the 7th, tomorrow. So I will do it again. And if you're interested, please just reach out to me, robin@quittingculture.com, and I will hook you up and make sure you can get in to do the klepto code. I'm only doing the first step tomorrow. I'm not doing the whole thing. Okay, I feel like that's an important thing to get clear about as we walk towards 2023 or walk into 2023. The other piece that's been important for me then, and as a part of this, is knowing what brings you peace and happiness and staying stable in the world. Now, I'm not going to talk about my purge for peace. However, I am doing that for free next Saturday morning. That would be Saturday the 14th from 10 to 12 Pacific time. If you want to know more about that, please email me, because I'm not going to have, I'm not registering people. This is a free event. I'm not selling anything. I'm just taking people through the process. You just need to reach out to me and say, hey, can you give me the details? I'll send you my Zoom link. Okay. We'll do that. One of the things that has been more challenging over the past, now going on 3 years, is dealing with all of the external world stuff that is so scary and bizarre and fearful. And once we turn our attention there, it's easy to step into a place of fear and worry and concern about right now and the future. It's been a challenge to not go there. And I believe there's a fine line between being aware and being overwhelmed by the information out there. And I don't want to have my head in the sand. I want to know what's going on. But what I've recognized is I want to know what's going on when it's appropriate for me to know. And that means that as people, God bless them all, my friends, my clients, my family, usually not my family, but my friends and my clients will just send me videos, and they'll be like, hey, did you see this? Hey, do you know about this? Hey, you need to read this. You need to watch this. And what I realized was happening at a couple different points over the past couple of years. One, at the beginning, I really wanted to figure out what was going on. My parents always taught me never to trust authority, never to trust the government. I've always been a deep researcher. I love that stuff. I love going deep and finding the connections and untangling the web as much as I can. So that was, yeah, the first year I was like all in. But here's what I noticed. I also created some fear and some real fear for myself. And I remember I had a mastermind meeting in May with all of these music teachers who had to just suddenly pivot from in-person lessons to online lessons. It was very stretching for all of them. I was their fearless leader of their mastermind. And I cried in a meeting in May. I cried. And I remember one member saying, "Oh my gosh, if you're crying, we're in trouble." So I never went there again with that group because I didn't want them to feel that from me, that that they couldn't lean on me. And so what I have learned to do is to tell my friends and my clients, "Hey guys, I really appreciate you sending me this information. Thank you for thinking of me. And just so you know, I may or may not consume this. I may or may not watch the video or read the article, and I may not do it anytime soon because I'm managing the input I'm getting." I have written to some people and said, "I'm not watching that video. That title is incendiary." It's absolutely, for me, a fear-mongering title, which means it's not aligned with my values. Fear is not one of my values, right? So no, thank you. I'm not going to watch it, but I appreciate you sending it, but thank you. I'm not going to watch it. And I've had people argue with me and I'm like, that's okay. That's okay. You can say whatever you need to say. I know where I stand. God bless you. I'm moving on now. And not from them, just not going to engage in an argument or a conversation about something I've already made a decision about for my own well-being. It's for my own self-care, my own protection, my own mindset. That's why I'm making these decisions. So I would invite you, as you walk into this year with all of these things going on out there in the world, money and finances and government and leaders and not leaders and conflicts and all of this stuff. There's a lot of stuff to really pay attention to how you feel and how, when, and if you consume that kind of stuff. Like, I learned, don't watch those videos at bedtime. In fact, don't open messages from certain friends after 4 p.m. because I don't need to go to bed with incendiary, scary titles, articles, videos on my mind. I just don't need to do that. Not helpful. I know that if I am working or I'm going to be meeting with my clients, I will not open those things because then my head goes completely to a different place that is not helpful as I'm helping clients purge for peace or build a brand new business or deal with a tricky relationship. I don't need to be over on some other part of the world in some kind of crazy conflict. So we're not going to do that. I am also not going to do that when I'm around my children or my family. I'm not going to be in that headspace because I don't want to be demonstrating to them fear on any level at all. I don't have fear unless I allow those things to seep in, and then I can go there because we can all go there, right? It's easy to get triggered. And I talk a lot about triggers. Fear is not a trigger I really want to have. So I just avoid it if I can. And again, not my head in the sand, but me managing my mindset, my inputs, and my relationship to these things that are coming in. It's thank you, no thank you. I don't need to read that. I consume things when I'm stable. And a lot of times, even when I'm reading something, if it starts to go in a crazy direction, or I can feel it's argumentative or feels like a fight, I just, if it's on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere else, I just scroll on by. I'm like, yep, not going to read those comments. They're not going to make me feel good. I don't want to participate in anything like that. So that is my January 6th initial episode of the year 2023 for the Liberated Life. Set yourself free in business and pleasure. Set yourself free. Don't get caught up in all of this stuff. I always tell myself, hey, today I am fine. I'm alive. I've got water. I've got air. I've got sunshine. I've got food. I've got my piano. I've got my friends. I've got my daughter's dog. I have the family cat. I mean, I just look at all the things I have and I tell myself, I look around, I'm like, you're fine, Robin. There's nothing happening here. You're totally fine. You are fine. Go on with your day. Have a beautiful day. Be grateful for the day. So I will go there. That's a beautiful way to start my day, in the place of I am fine. And as scary stuff comes in too, if I happen to catch something by accident, then I go back to that. Like, Robin, that might be happening or it might not be happening. You actually don't know if it's really happening because you don't know anything, actually. And you are fine. You're totally fine. Look around you. Look around. You are fine. So I would encourage you to, if you do consume something via Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media platforms you're on, friends, well-meaning, God bless them, friends that send you scary stuff, find yourself, ground yourself into the actual present moment of I am fine. All right, that's what I have for you today. If you are interested in the Klepto Code and you would like to come to my free workshop on Saturday, January 7th from 10 to noon Pacific time, hit me up, write to me, robin@quittingculture.com, and I will give you the link to my Zoom room. I'm not going to be doing that at 10 a.m. though, just so you know. I'll be in that room and I won't be checking my email after 9:55 a.m. on Saturday morning. Saturday, January 14th, 2023, I will be doing a 2-hour workshop on taking people through a quick snapshot of my Purge for Peace. If you are interested in working with me and getting these things handled, let me know. You can come to, if you're a woman, you can come to Calm Club, which stands for Connection, Accountability, Love, and Mentorship. We meet for group coaching twice a month. We also meet on every Monday for a quick accountability check-in. That is a drop-in, and that is to help keep you on track. Calm Club group coaching meets the second and fourth Tuesday of the month from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific. It's free for your first month, and then it's $97 a month for people who join me in the first few months of 2023, and then it'll be double that for people who join later. But it'll be a really lovely group, intimate group where you can get support for shifting your mindset, staying on track, not letting things sneak in that have no business being there in terms of your mindset, your habits, things that light you up, things that you don't want things to take you off track. So the goal is a safe place to express what you're up to and get support in moving that forward. All right. Thank you so much for your patience with me as I have been sporadic since November with episodes. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you soon on another edition of The Liberated Life.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and recommend on Apple Podcasts, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcast. You can also get more great information at quittingculture.com.